Welcome in. It is the Monday, March 10 edition of the NFL Spotlight Show. No, I'm not in the office. Yes, the NFL is absolutely crazy right now. And this is, I won't lie, a second recording that we're doing today because so much has happened here on Sunday. Hopefully, the audio is good over here for everybody. But I have a feeling this episode of the show is going to be short lived because so much is going to happen here today on Monday, the official start of the legal tampering period, aka free agency, where every single free agent who wants to talk to other teams could, quote unquote, officially start talking to other teams. Noon Eastern today, we are going to have a flurry of action. If I recall correctly, last year, over 75 deals happened on Monday, the first day of the legal tampering period. And for what it's worth, I mean, there's been so much that happened here on Sunday. We'll talk about all of it here right now, but a quick heads up on everything coming up over here this week. Today here on Monday, like I said, a lot of deals coming up. We're going to have a lot of shorts on the YouTube channel, instant reaction to all the news. We're also going to have on the 3013.com, the website, a free agency tracker, every single deal up to the minute. We're going to update it over there because obviously a lot is going on. So, and obviously one more thing, My Sports Update Twitter page, follow me there, up to the minute, one-stop shop, all your NFL news. But let's get to everything that happened here on Sunday because this was probably one of the crazier Sundays we've had on the lead up to the legal tampering period. And we're going to start with the big trade, which we've been waiting for. DK Metcalf has now officially been traded from the Seahawks to the Pittsburgh Steelers. There was a lot of, I guess, misinformation out there, but I don't know misinformation, but a lot of stuff out there. But he wants to be in a warm weather place and those type of things. DK first and foremost wanted to get paid, and he's getting paid over here by the Pittsburgh Steelers. 5 years, 150, really 4 years at $33 million per year. He had 1 year and $18 million left on his contract, and he's getting a big money deal over here from Pittsburgh to, for now, join George Pickens. We'll see what his future is as well. And we still don't know who the quarterback is in Pittsburgh, whether it's Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, somebody else. We'll probably find out over here later today which direction they're going in. But for him, he obviously felt like his time in Seattle was over. That's why he requested the trade in the first place. And he ends up in Pittsburgh for the second round pick. And there were times in Seattle where DK showed his frustrations. He got upset. This is the most perfect place for him, where Mike Tomlin, over the years, from all the receivers he's had, he's been able to get all these really talented receivers to stay calm and not get out of control. So it's a perfect landing spot for him here in Pittsburgh. And Seattle, they are kind of, I want to say, hitting the reset button, but they're moving on from a lot of players over here. We saw Tyler Lockett gone, DK Metcalf gone, Geno Smith gone, Draymond Jones, Rayshon Jenkins, George Fant, and on and on. They've been moving on from a lot of players over here. And the league-wide belief, dating back to a couple of days ago when the Geno Smith trade happened, is that their intention is to go after Sam Darnold. We'll see what happens here later today. I expect that to be one of the first deals to come down over here once noon Eastern hits. But they're kind of trying to build this roster in the vision of Mike Macdonald. To this point, it was in a Pete Carroll type of a team. Now it's the Mike Macdonald team. They already re-signed Ernest Jones, the linebacker, on Sunday. They brought back Jerron Reed, the defensive tackle. Those are Mike Macdonald type of defensive players. They're trying to bring in his vision to this team. So a lot of people are saying, oh, maybe they're rebuilding or whatever. I wouldn't go that far yet, but they are hitting a bit of a reset button, trying to transition from that era of Seattle to this new era of Seattle with their now second-year head coach in Mike Macdonald. The news obviously did not stop over there. Myles Garrett, who requested a trade, start of February, Super Bowl week, made it public. He is now going back to Cleveland, 4 years, $160 million, highest paid non-quarterback in football, $40 million per year. It's a shocking deal. Crazy turn of events. It was just last week where the reports were he was not gonna, negotiate, and there was reports out that the owner didn't want to speak to him and basically said, go speak to the GM. It's his job to figure out the roster. And here we are now, a few days later. Andrew Berry, Nicole Lynn, the agent, get together Friday night, all of Saturday and Sunday morning, and they get this deal done, taking him off the trade market and essentially putting him in a situation where now he has 6 years left on his deal, 4 new years, 2 of the old years, and basically puts him on track to go from Cleveland to Canton, which is what Andrew Berry said at his end of season press conference. From my reading the tea leaves over here, it definitely seems like Myles Garrett got to a point where it's like, I really don't want to be here, but they're not trading me. And we're going to go all the way to the regular season with all these games. Let's just re up over here, get this amazing contract. The money talks, of course, even though Miles said that does not matter a few weeks ago. And now he's locked in. And the ripple effects of this is kind of crazy because, first of all, Cleveland now going into today and for agency and the draft, they basically know now that they have their cornerstone there. And also the 40 million per year, that is a new benchmark for Jamar Chase, who said he wants to be the highest, who I know wants to be the highest paid non-quarterback in football, and their executive Duke Tobin said that as well, that they're going to make it that happen. When he said that at the combine, it was 35 million per year. That is now 40 million per year. So the Jamar Chase number is going up. But the other pass rushers, whether you're a TJ Watt or Trey Hendrickson, also Cincinnati, Micah Parsons, Aiden Hutchinson, all of them and their agents are going to be asking for $40 million plus of a year in the coming weeks and months of the offseason. So this is an unprecedented deal over here. The first ever non-quarterback to hit 40 million per year. And Myles Garrett is the first one to do it. But I guarantee you, we're going to have more of those coming up over here in the coming weeks and months of the offseason. From there, we saw a record deal for Josh Allen in Buffalo, the reigning NFL MVP, signs an extension. It was reported as a 6-year deal, $330 million, $55 million per year. When Josh Allen signed his initial extension, that was back in 2021, a 6-year deal. I believe it was 40 million per year, 45 million per year. He quickly got surpassed by so many guys with a 6-year extension. He still had 2 years left on his rookie contract, so he was under contract for 8 years. And I believe going into today, he was outside the top 10 when it came to the highest paid quarterbacks in football. We had Jason Fitzgerald of Over the Cap here on the show a few weeks ago. I asked him about this situation. He's like, I don't know. Buffalo has 4 years left on the contract. They really don't have to do anything over here. But they reward their NFL MVP. But really, what this is, he had 4 years left on his contract. Those 4 years are staying. They essentially tacked on a 2 years and 2 more years onto the deal and $200 million onto the deal. That's where the numbers come in. It's going to be spread out throughout the contract and basically puts him on par with the rest of the quarterback market. So Buffalo did not have to do this. For example, Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes signed a 10-year deal and had 12 years left in total with the 2 years of his rookie contract when he signed it back in 2020. They've only been pushing money to the front. They haven't given him a full-blown extension over here. So Buffalo didn't have to do this, but they want to reward their MVP, the guy who really turned that franchise from a nothing to something over here. 6 straight years of AFC East titles, and of course, MVP this past year, and essentially having Buffalo on the map. Of course, the next goal is to get them to a Super Bowl. They've been so close. But that is the other big deal that happened over here. And I'm just wondering this, and we'll see if it has ripple effects around the NFL. It's kind of unprecedented in the NFL to have 4 years left on your contract and get a new deal. There's been rare cases where you have 3 years left. I think Aaron Donald did that. DeAndre Hopkins did that. But 4 years left on a deal and getting a new deal or an extension or anything like that, it's unprecedented. And I wonder if other players in the NFL are like, if Josh could do that, we want to do the same thing as well. So that is another situation that will probably bear watching over here in the coming days and months over here as more extensions come on here in the offseason. The other big news that we also had, Davante Adams released by the Jets last week. He is signing with the Los Angeles Rams. We mentioned it when he was cut last week. West Coast winning situation. Aaron Rodgers does not matter. What does he do? West Coast Rams winning situation, team who just made the divisional round, almost beat the eventual Super Bowl champions, and of course joins a team that does not have Aaron Rodgers. Could have had Aaron Rodgers if Matthew Stafford left, but Matthew Stafford stayed. And this came together real quick. 2-year deal worth $46 million. The first year is the only year that has guaranteed money. So if this experiment does not work, he essentially could be released after this season. But the Rams are going into this year now with Stafford, Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, Davante Adams, Tutu Atwell, Tyler Higbee. That is going to be their offense. I expect Cooper Kupp to be released of here, whether it's today, Tuesday, Wednesday. Does not sound like he has a trade market. So they're going to move on from him. And the replacement for Cooper Cup becomes Davante Adams, who got exactly what he wanted by joining the West Coast. And listen, they didn't have to release Cooper Cup. They clearly felt like his time with, the injuries and the durability and just his route running, not the same player. They now replace him with Davante Adams, and that offense is going to be really, really fun to watch over here next season. And I wouldn't rule out the Rams making more moves over here. I think they want to add some people on the offensive line, defensively as well. They have money to spend, and they want to improve this roster, especially knowing that Matthew Stafford is back for 2025. Some other news that happened here. We're not going to hit every little detail over here. Like I said, we're going to have YouTube shorts throughout the course of the day here today as more news happens. But we had a bunch of linebackers return to their current teams. Nick Bolton returns to the Kansas City Chiefs. That was a situation I could tell you right now. Raiders, Broncos, Titans were all in the Nick Bolton sweepstakes over here. They all wanted him. I think they would have offered him more money. He wanted to stay in Kansas City, homegrown player, turns 25 years old today, actually. Happy birthday to him. And he is going to stay in Kansas City. Ernest Jones, who was traded multiple times last year from the Rams to the Titans, from the Titans to the Seahawks, he returns to Seattle as well. 3 years and $33 million for him. And then we also had the Jets re-signing Jamie Sherwood, linebacker, who I said on a few shows last week, I think also on our show over here, he's going to have a really good market. He has a 3-year, $45 million deal to return to the Jets with Aaron Glenn. That was another player who had a lot of really interested teams. Patriots, Falcons, a few teams were very interested in him and would have offered him a lot of money. He returns home, stays where it all started, where his NFL career started. And then we had another free agent signing of a player who was cut. This player was cut on Friday. Harold Landry, cut by the Titans. He is joining the Patriots, 3-year deal, $43.5 million. This is a really, really expensive contract for a player who many thought was more on the downside of his career. Obviously, still had the sack production, but not the same player since that ACL injury a couple of years ago. But the connections. He went to Boston College, and of course, he is somebody that was with Mike Vrabel, who's now the new head coach in New England. I'm not sure why. If you're watching on YouTube, there are fireworks behind me right now on the screen. Not sure why that happened. Maybe something to do with our back end of the year, but that was kind of funny. But that is some of the things that are happening here in the NFL on Sunday. I'll just say this going into today. There's going to be a lot of free agent signings, obviously agree in principle. But watch out for the trade market. I mentioned this on the first recording we did over here earlier today. We deleted that whole recording, but DK Metcalf was about to happen. We knew that was happening. It got done on Sunday night instead of Monday. But there will be more trades. Look for the defensive line market. There's been some talk about some other receiver trades in the NFL. Basically, I said this last week. The NFL, a lot of cash, a lot of cap space for many teams. The free agent market from executive standpoints, from scouts, pro scouts, not so great. Like, we're going to see the safeties moving, the cornerbacks moving, offensive linemen. You're going to see some crazy numbers over there. Jalen Moore, Dan Moore, Aaron Banks, Will Fries. Like, there'll be some crazy money for these guys. But you're going to see some trades over here where teams are like, we don't want to spend on some of these guys, so we're going to trade for contracts, give up a pick and whatever, and make that happen. So be on the lookout for that. Some teams we're watching today. Carolina Panthers, expect them to be very active over here today. Look as well at the Washington Commanders and the New England Patriots. Those are some of the teams that we're watching over here. Denver Broncos as well are going to be active. Kansas City Chiefs are in the left tackle market. There's a lot of things over here going on. Like I said, add my sports update on Twitter, up to the minute, one-stop shop for all the NFL news. The 3013.com, our free agency tracker, is being updated as soon as signings happen. And of course, the YouTube page at NFL Spotlight Show. We're going to have shorts, instant reactions, and all of that going over there. And of course, our full episode coming out tomorrow morning. No Tuesday Spotlight guest tomorrow. We're going to be talking about free agency, recapping everything that happened, what else is coming, and much more. So a bit of a shorter episode today, a lot going on, but we're going to have full coverage over here throughout the course of the week. It's by far the busiest week on the NFL calendar. Transactions galore. Like I said before, 75, 80 signings or agreements were made on Monday on the negotiating period last year. I expect something similar. It might go slower this year because it's not as strong of a market, but still, a lot of these deals, the NFL does not want you to know, a lot of these deals have been done over here for the last few days. agents, teams, they're talking. It's tampering. Who cares? It happens. So that is going on over here. So we will be back over here tomorrow morning. We'll be on the YouTube channel throughout the course of the day. And of course, we will be on X at My Sports Update with all the latest news as free agency officially gets underway. We will see you all over here tomorrow morning.